Once upon a time, in a small town in rural America, there was a man named Bob who owned a farm. Bob was a peculiar character, and everyone in the town knew him as the guy who loved animals more than humans. He had a vast collection of animals on his farm, including horses, cows, goats, chickens, and even some exotic pets like a pair of ostriches and a family of emus. Bob would often spend hours every day taking care of his animals, feeding them and making sure they were happy and healthy. One day, Bob decided to do something different and opened up his farm for the public to visit. He had put up posters all over the town, inviting people to come and see his collection of animals. The townsfolk were excited about the prospect of visiting Bob's farm, and on the day of the opening, there was a long queue of people waiting outside. As the visitors entered the farm, they were greeted by a cacophony of animal sounds. There were horses whinnying, cows mooing, goats bleating, chickens clucking, and emus screeching. The visitors were all amazed by the vast array of animals that Bob had on his farm, and they couldn't wait to see everything. Bob was there to greet everyone, and he started giving them a tour of the farm. He showed them the horses first, which were all grazing in a meadow. He introduced each one of them by name, and the visitors were delighted to see how friendly and docile the horses were. Next, they went to see the cows, who were all mooing and chewing on hay. Bob explained to them how he milked the cows every day and sold the milk to the local dairy. The visitors were fascinated by the process, and some of them even tried their hand at milking a cow. Then they went to see the goats, who were all playfully jumping around. Bob told them how he used the goat's milk to make cheese, and he offered them some samples. The visitors loved the cheese, and they all bought some to take home. After that, they went to see the chickens, who were all clucking and scratching the ground. Bob told them how he collected the eggs every day and sold them to the local grocery store. Some of the visitors even got to hold a baby chick, which was a big hit with the kids. Finally, they went to see the exotic pets, the ostriches and the emus. Bob warned them to be careful around the ostriches, as they could be quite aggressive, but the visitors were brave and went up to the ostriches, trying to pet them. Suddenly, one of the ostriches became agitated and started running around, flapping its wings. The visitors were all scared and started running away, except for one man who had a bright idea. The man was a bit of a joker and thought it would be funny to chase after the ostrich, so he started running after it, waving his arms around and shouting, "Come back here, you big bird!" The ostrich turned around and saw the man running after it, and it started running even faster. The man was determined to catch the ostrich, and he kept running after it, even as it led him out of the farm and into the nearby woods. The other visitors were all looking on in amazement, wondering what had happened to the man. They could hear his voice echoing through the woods, shouting, "I'll catch you, you big bird." They all started laughing, thinking it was a hilarious prank. But after a while, the man didn't return, and the visitors started to get worried. They decided to search for him. The visitors searched for the man for hours, calling out his name and scanning the woods for any signs of him. They were starting to get really worried when they heard a strange noise in the distance. It was a mix of laughter and animal sounds, and it seemed to be getting closer. As they got closer, they could see the man emerging from the woods with the ostrich right behind him. The man was laughing hysterically, and the ostrich was still chasing him, but at a much slower pace. The visitors all breathed a sigh of relief and rushed over to the man, who was covered in dirt and leaves. They asked him what had happened, and he told them that he had chased the ostrich for miles and miles, but eventually it had tired out and given up. The visitors all burst out laughing, and the man joined in, realizing how ridiculous the whole situation was. Bob, who had been searching for the man with the other visitors, came over and scolded the man for his foolish behavior, telling him that he could have been seriously injured. But even Bob couldn't help but laugh at the absurdity of the situation, and soon the whole group was joking and laughing together. The man apologized for his behavior, and everyone forgave him, realizing that it was just a harmless prank. As the day drew to a close, The visitors started to leave the farm, each one with a big smile on their face. They had all had a great time, and they couldn't wait to come back and visit Bob's farm again. The man who had chased the ostrich even bought a stuffed ostrich toy from Bob's gift shop as a memento of his wild adventure. From that day on, he became known as the ostrich chaser in the town, and people would often joke with him about his crazy stunt. Bob's farm became a popular destination for tourists and locals alike, and he continued to take great care of his animals, ensuring that they were happy and healthy. And although there were many more visitors who came to the farm over the years, none of them ever chased an ostrich again.